Deep in the heart of America, where the ancient Ozark Mountains rise from the earth like sleeping giants, there lurks a legend that has haunted the imagination for more than 2 centuries. The Ozark Howler stands as one of our nation's most enduring cryptid legends, a mysterious creature that has captivated residents and researchers across the south-central United States. This beast, described as a fearsome hybrid of bear, cat, and supernatural entity, represents a fascinating intersection of folklore, cultural identity, and unexplained phenomena in the rugged highlands of the Ozark Mountains. But what could this creature truly be? Well, we're going to explore not only the legend itself, but dive into the scientific theories, psychological explanations, and biological possibilities that might explain the Ozark Howler phenomenon. Hello everyone, and welcome to Wicked Encounters, where we explore just what goes bump in the night. I'm your host Allie, and today we're taking a trip over to the Ozarks to discuss the Ozark Howler. Our story begins in the early 1800s, when America was still young and the frontier beckoned to brave souls seeking adventure. The most famous early account involves none other than legendary frontiersman Daniel Boone himself. Around 1816, near the Platte River in Missouri, Boone encountered and allegedly killed one of these creatures, though the body was never recovered. According to some traditions, Boone had multiple encounters with the beast, cementing its place in frontier lore. But perhaps the creature's origins reach even deeper into the shadows of American cultural history, potentially rooted in both Native American folklore and European immigrant traditions. Anthropologists and folklorists have speculated that the creature might be a branching off of the black dog of death found in British folklore. Early Ozark settlers, many of whom migrated from the Appalachian regions with strong Scotch-Irish heritage, may have transplanted and transformed these ancient stories to fit their new mountainous environment. The Ozark Howler has become deeply embedded in regional cultural identity, serving as both a source of local pride and a symbol of the mysterious, untamed nature of the Ozark Mountains. The legend reflects the complex cultural landscape of the Ozarks, a region that straddles geographical and cultural boundaries between the Midwest and the South. But this isn't merely ancient folklore. The Ozark Howler continues to make headlines in the modern era. In October 2014, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission received an emergency call from a motorist who nearly collided with an unidentified, bear-sized, gray, fast-running animal on Pump Station Road in Springdale, Arkansas. Armed state wildlife officers were reportedly dispatched to investigate, though it doesn't seem like they found the gray beast. In 2007, Steve and Sharon Robinson of Forsyth, Missouri, captured both audio recordings and game camera images of an unidentified creature after hearing disturbing screams near their property. Wildlife expert Michael Richardson examined their evidence and admitted that while the audio could represent known animals, quote, "We can't rule it out that this is not something that the world has ever seen before." But Allie, what does the creature look like? I hear you asking. Well, eyewitness accounts reveal a beast of remarkably variable appearance, though certain characteristics remain consistent across reports. The creature is typically described as bear-sized, standing 3 to 6 feet at the shoulder, with a heavy-set, stocky build. Its most distinctive features include thick, shaggy fur that ranges from black to dark gray, glowing red or orange eyes, and prominent horns or antlers reminiscent of a ram's or deer. Traditional Ozark folklore claims the creature's red eyes can put people in a trance. The beast is also known by various regional names, such as the nightshade bear, hoo-hoo, and the devil cat. But it is the creature's vocalizations that represent perhaps its most terrifying and consistent characteristic. The howler is said to be a black, shaggy beast with a horrific howl that makes a man's blood run cold. The sound is described as an unholy hybridization of an elk's bugle, a wolf's howl, and a hyena's laugh. It's also been compared to a woman's scream. This supernatural shriek can allegedly be heard from miles away and is said to freeze listeners with terror. Though to be fair, if I'm lost in the woods and I just hear something screaming at me, I would be scared as well. But now let's examine what science says about these encounters. The most widely accepted scientific explanation involves misidentification of known animals, particularly black bears, mountain lions, and escaped exotic pets. By the early 1900s, black bears were believed to be almost extinct in Missouri and Arkansas due to extensive logging and overharvest. But recent genetic studies have revealed fascinating information. A 2022 study found that Missouri bears were divided between those that clustered with Arkansas Ozark populations and a unique genetic cluster, suggesting that black bears in the Missouri Ozarks were not completely extirpated, but were reduced to very low densities during European settlement. The current population is estimated at 279 bears, with a density of 1.7 bears per square kilometer. Could some howler sightings represent encounters with these rare surviving bear populations? I mean, I don't see why not. It's always a possibility. But mountain lions present another compelling explanation. While Game and Fish love to say that the eastern cougar is extinct, even though we see them quite literally all the time here in Pennsylvania, the last confirmed specimen was trapped in Maine in 1938. Genetic testing conducted in 2000 suggests there may not be a significant difference between eastern and western cougars. Western populations are slowly moving east, with breeding pairs now established in Nebraska. Oklahoma has documented 85 confirmed mountain lion sightings since 2002, with many occurring in counties adjacent to the Ozarks. So who's to say that with its feline-esque physical descriptions, that the Ozark isn't a mountain lion? Though some people believe them to be a different kind of cat, like a lynx or a very large bobcat. Bobcat populations are actually on the rise across most of North America, with current estimates placing the population between 2.3 and 3.6 million individual bobcats across the United States. And honestly, bobcats are incredibly adaptable. They're found everywhere from Canadian forests to the Mexican deserts, and from Montana mountains to Los Angeles suburbs. It's entirely your guess on which one is the most dangerous, but I've seen those sassy bitches in Los Angeles. Perhaps the most scientifically significant development in howler research emerged from DNA analysis of preserved specimens claimed to be from the creature. The identification of red wolf genetic material provides a compelling explanation for at least some historical sightings. Originally, red wolves roamed as far north as Pennsylvania and as far west as central Texas. By the late 1930s, only two populations were believed to remain, one in the Ozark Mountain region of Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri, and the other in southern Louisiana and southeastern Texas. Red wolves were declared extinct in the wild by 1980, though a small captive breeding population was maintained. The possibility that isolated red wolf populations survived longer than officially recognized offers a rational explanation for encounters with large, wolf-like creatures exhibiting unfamiliar behaviors and vocalizations. But, and this is a big, big but, What if the Ozark howler represents something even more extraordinary? A more fascinating scientific hypothesis holds that the Ozark howler could be a real undiscovered species, a cryptid in the most accurate sense, while other certain cryptozoologists propose that it may be a megafauna that somehow persisted in the remote mountain area from the Ice Age. Now, I know that's a big stretch, but hear me out. Some researchers have speculated about a surviving population of the extinct saber-toothed cat Smilodon. Until about 10,000 years ago, Smilodon fatalis was a fearsome predator in what is now known as the American West, weighing up to 600 pounds and sporting 7-inch long canine teeth. Recent research has revealed that rather than being open grassland hunters as traditionally believed, saber-toothed cats were likely forest dwellers that primarily feasted on leaf-browsing creatures, like tapirs and deer. The key to understanding prehistoric survival lies in dietary flexibility. Smaller predators, like coyotes and gray wolves, survived to the modern day, while larger carnivores went extinct 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, because they could not adapt their diets to follow the disappearance of large prehistoric herbivores. Others conjecture about hybrid species. Maybe a cross between wolves and big cats, even though such a natural hybridization would be biologically unprecedented and impossible. More conservative biological theories propose an uncommon subspecies of known animals, such as a genetically different population of black bears with atypical features. Approaching the howler as a cultural phenomenon rather than a biological reality, psychological and sociological theories treat it as a manifestation of group anxieties about wilderness areas and the unknown. Basically, it's just people scaring themselves shitless. After all, fear has played a significant role in shaping cryptid sightings, influencing how people perceive mysterious creatures and the unexplainable. Fear alters human perception, often heightening senses and making people more susceptible to see what they expect, or what they fear. When individuals venture into dense forests or remote locations known for cryptid encounters, their anticipation of the unknown primes their minds to interpret shadows, sounds, and movement as something extraordinary. This psychological phenomenon, known as pareidolia, causes the brain to recognize familiar patterns in ambiguous stimuli. The human brain is wired for survival, which means that fear-induced hyperawareness is a defense mechanism. When fear sets in, the brain releases adrenaline, which enhances sensory perception, but can also cause cognitive distortions. Folklorists have identified a phenomenon called ostension, the real-life occurrence of events described by a legend. To folklorists, ostension occurs when legend alters or shapes the behavior of people, creating real events patterned on urban legends. Individuals may become involved in real-life activities based on all or part of a narrative, whether consciously or unconsciously. In the case of cryptids, ostension explains how easily certain elements can pass from legend to ritualized action. Once aware of the howler legend, people become more inclined to view uncertain events through that explanatory framework. The phenomena of hysterical contagion occurs when people in a group show signs of experiencing something extraordinary, when psychological and social forces are actually at work. What is contagious is often the belief that showing certain characteristics will entitle one to attention or validation. The 1962 June bug epidemic at a U.S. textile factory serves as a classic example, where 62 employees developed mysterious symptoms that were ultimately attributed to mass hysteria rather than any actual threat. The Ozark howler has attracted significant attention from television investigators and cryptozoological researchers. Wildlife biologist Forrest Gallant conducted the most promising investigation in 2021 for mysterious creatures, combining traditional cryptozoology methods with rigorous scientific analysis. The episode aired on February 19, 2022, and featured Gallant's trip to Missouri to search for the mythical creature after hearing of recently reported encounters. Recent years have seen increased use of game cameras and audio recording equipment in howler investigations. Trail cameras have captured images of unidentified dark forms moving quickly through properties, though image quality has prevented definitive identification. The integration of modern technology with traditional folklore research represents a new frontier in cryptid investigation, where scientific methodology can be applied to age-old mysteries. Though from this, Forrest Gallant was actually one of the people who discovered that the genetic makeup of the samples for Ozark howler stuff was just red wolf. Another theory that has gained credibility involves escaped exotic animals. The 2011 Zanesville, Ohio animal escape serves as a stark reminder of how exotic pets can end up in unexpected places. On October 18, 2011, the owner of Muskingum County Animal Farm released 50 exotic animals before taking his own life. Lions, tigers, bears, and wolves were among the animals that escaped, with 48 ultimately being killed by law enforcement. I know it's really tragic that it happened, but they had to, guys. They had to. Such incidents demonstrate that encounters with unusual animals are not always mythical. Sometimes they represent real exotic species that have escaped captivity or been deliberately released. Given the private ownership of exotic animals across the United States, some howler sightings could potentially be explained by encounters with escaped or released exotic cats, bears, or hybrid animals. But now I have a question. Do you think Dubai has a problem with escaping exotic pets? They always show those guys with tigers or lions, so I'm curious. The Ozark howler legend has generated economic benefits for the region through cryptid tourism and cultural attraction. Howler Bike Park in the Arkansas Ozarks has embraced the legend as part of its branding, incorporating the creature's story into its marketing materials. Beyond entertainment value, the Ozark howler serves as a vehicle for preserving and transmitting regional cultural knowledge. The legend connects contemporary residents with their frontier heritage, while providing a framework for discussing local ecology, history, and folklore traditions. Academic researchers have noted how howler stories preserve information about historical wildlife populations, settlement patterns, and cultural interactions between different ethnic groups in the Ozark. In this sense, the legend functions as a form of oral history that encodes real ecological and cultural information. That being said, though, I have another fun theory, more esoteric, but worth considering. The concept of tulpas. Tulpas are distinguished by their persistence and continuity over time, existing as separate mental consciousness alongside their creators. Basically, think it enough and it will come to be. Now, could the Ozark howler represent a form of collective tulpa, created and sustained by generations of believers? I mean, some researchers believe that concentrated belief and repeated storytelling might manifest psychological experiences that feel entirely real to those who encounter them. Well, this ventures into the realm of consciousness studies rather than zoology, and the whole belief that humanity has a collective conscious rather than zoology. It offers an intriguing perspective on how legends might acquire a form of reality through collective human attention. But I think that's also giving humans more credit than we deserve. The Ozark howler represents far more than a simple monster story. It embodies the complex relationship between fact and fiction, science and story, in the ongoing human effort to understand and connect with the natural world. Whether viewed as a surviving prehistoric predator,
Holy fucking shit, it's a dinosaur!
a misidentified known animal, or a purely folkloric creation, the howler continues to serve important cultural functions for the Ozark communities. The documented presence of black bears, mountain lions, and bobcats in the region provides rational explanations for many sightings. Yet the psychological theories of fear-induced perception, ostension, and cultural manifestation remind us that human consciousness itself plays a crucial role in creating and sustaining these legends. It serves as a reminder that the natural world still holds secrets, that science continues to discover new species, and that the boundary between the known and unknown remains tantalizingly permeable. So, if you ever find yourself in the ancient Ozark Mountains, when the sun sets and darkness creeps through the trees, remember this. The Ozark howler may be a black bear protecting her cubs, a mountain lion far from its usual range, the ghost of an extinct red wolf, a creature from the Ice Age, a manifestation of our deepest fears, or something else entirely. But whatever explanation proves true, the legend itself has become real through our collective belief, our shared stories, and our eternal fascination with the mysteries that still roam the wild places of our world. And that's all I've got today for the Ozark Howler. If you enjoyed exploring it with me, hit the like button. It really helps me keep bringing you strange and fascinating stories from around the world. If you'd like to support me in other ways, maybe consider subscribing, maybe consider checking out my Patreon. Speaking of, I'd like to give a great big thank you to our patrons, Nakala, Beefalump, and Ramilia Scarlet. You guys are the bee's knees. Well, that's all I've got for you. So until next time, remember, I'm Allie, this is Wicked Encounters, and I'll see you next time. Bye!